Hello and welcome to another video. As you sure have heard by now, the Log4j vulnerability has kept a lot of IT folks on their toes. In this video I will show you a free solution, how you can easily identify if you have any of the vulnerable jar files in your source. JFrog, the makers of Artifactory, if you're familiar with that, has released a tool or tool set that will help you identify Log4j vulnerabilities in your code. I will link the page to, or the link to the article. I will put that into the comments below. If you're interested, you can read through it. But as you can see here, there's also a link to GitHub and where the source code is housed, and I will go ahead and I will hop on over there. Here I went over to GitHub. Here is their code, and I will show you how you can go ahead and clone this code down to your machine and start using what they have provided. All you will need for the base script, I call it a base script, but for the version script to run is Python 3. There is no other dependencies that you will need, which is quite beneficial. I've looked for a lot of different solutions to easily and quickly identify the Log4j vulnerability across our company's pretty large code base, but most of them do require some sort of outside resources or databases to be installed. In this case, all you need is Python, and that is quite helpful, and it is actually running really fast. Before I go ahead and clone this, I wanted to scroll down on this page a little bit and show you actually in their documentation, which is really nicely written. I wanted to show you that this tool is not just going ahead, or the code is just not going ahead and going by the jar file name. It is actually looking at the class code of the Jindy manager and Jindy lookup classes, and it's actually also looking at jar files as well as war files. So this covers quite a bit, and for JFrog to provide this for free, I think this is a really great solution if you're looking to maybe use something like this, maybe personally or possibly even for work. So in order to clone this, just scroll up to the top, and I will put this link in the description as well. And just go into code and then just copy this link, and then we gotta hop on. I use the terminal, and I will hop on over there, and I will go ahead and show you how you can clone it there. Otherwise you can also download the zip file here and unpack it and then use the code as it is. So here I am in my terminal. For you to be able to clone this repository with git commands, make sure that you do have git installed. So all we need to do here is just to, well, first you want to obviously go into the directory where you want to clone the project to, and then you just go and type in git clone, and then just paste the URL that we have just copied. Paste this in, hit enter. This is a public repository, so you can just clone it down. And if we're taking a look here, Log4j tools has been cloned down, and we can go ahead and cd into the directory, and I will open it in Visual Studio Code. So here I'm in Visual Studio Code, and you see here the Python scripts that I was referring to are all here. So we have our scan log4j calls jar.py, calls source.py, and then our scan log4j versions.py. The one that I will be talking about is the versions.py. We can open it and you can scroll through it. I will not go through every single function and how exactly it works in this video. This will probably take some time, but rest assured it's safe to use, and that's all you need. So there's no other additional dependencies that need to be installed. To use the calls source or the calls jar files here, these two, you would need to run a pip install -r requirements text. Here are the requirements. So these are the requirements that you would need in order to run these two. so that they work properly. To run the scan log4j versions.py, you do not need to install anything else. So here I am back in my terminal. Let me cd one up. Okay, what I have done here is I have a log4j source folder created in here, and if we take a look at it real quick, I call it log4j source. So if we take a look at it, I did go ahead and I did download a few different versions of log4j, vulnerable ones as well as safe ones. So 2.16, for example, is okay. So to demonstrate the scan itself. So with that, let's take a look how we can actually run a scan. Let me clear my screen. So as I've said before, all we would need to do is we need to have Python installed, and that's all I have. I have not other dependencies installed right now. And in order for us to run it, let's do, just so that I type the names correctly, I do admit that I'm sometimes not really fast with remembering names here, but so the one that we want to run, the script that we want to run, is the scan log4j versions.py. So looking at the instructions, or if you read through the instructions, all we need to do is we need to call the script and give it a root directory. So the root directory I will give in this example here is the root, or the directory that I have created. We have my jar files. This is the log4j sources. So all we need to do here is I just type in Python. I reference log4j tools. I want to run my scan log4j, so I can just, this is the versions.py, and now I got to give it simply the root directory, which, as I've said before, is my log4j sources, and that's all I want. And let's run this, and you will see here it returns to me that I have these versions that are vulnerable. Vulnerable versions are from 2.0, so 2.0 through 2.15. 16, as you can see here, is fixed. 17 is safe, and everything lower than 2.0 is also deemed to be safe. They did not use the JIND class. So with that being said, so my scan returned my results. It gives me the estimated version, and if it is vulnerable, if it is mitigated, if it's fixed, and you can run that across all your root folders that you would like to scan and see if you have any of the vulnerable jar files available. The beauty of the solution is that you can easily take this Python script, you can embed it in a Docker container, you can use it in your CI/CD pipelines wherever you would like. So it's very lightweight and easy to implement and use, which makes it a very good solution to at least identify the jar files that may be vulnerable and take appropriate action to either remove them or upgrade appropriately. Now, if you want to take a look at the other file, we can do that, and let me just go ahead and get this set up. As I've mentioned before, in our log4j tools repo that we have cloned, there is a requirements file. So if we wanted to use the other two scripts, you want to go ahead and install that first. So let's go ahead and we cd into log4j tools. And in here I have my requirements file in Python or for pip. In order to use a requirements file, we just run a pip install -r and then give it the file that we want to reinstall from. Let's hit enter, and you see it has installed all the dependencies that we need to install in order to use the other files. So let me clear my screen, and I'm sorry it dropped off the screen there. But now I have my dependencies installed. So if I cd back, and now we can run another scan using the other two files for the source or jar. And to run them, we just run again a Python. We tell it what file to run. So in this case, it is in my Log4j tools folder, and then in here it's the scan log4j calls. In this case, I'm using the jar one, jar.py, and now we give it again a root directory. In my case, I will just use the example Java root directory, and if I hit enter, you see it's scanning through it and it has not found any vulnerabilities in there, but it tells you here it's looking for calls to class pattern org Apache logging log4j logger and the method name pattern. But there was none in this example here. However, this is just to demonstrate how you can use that script as well. And that concludes this demonstration, how you can easily implement a scanner to look for log4j jar files that are runnable. And I hope you found this helpful. If you did, feel free to give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you have better solutions, I'm always curious to learn more. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.